Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Here I am. What's going on? It is Friday. We had a gap up. We are bullish. Things are good. How are we all doing today? Let's see. We got Tyler. We got J420. We got Adrian. We got Josh Smith. Welcome everybody. How we doing? How we doing? Good to see you guys in here. We're going to be talking about a really cool indicator today. I'm excited, but first things first. Are we winning, guys? Are we winning? Did we do well today? Pretty crazy day. All right. Yeah, Jay, this is going to be about the WaveTrend Oscillator. So we will jump in just a second here. I do need to check on just a few things here, and then we'll be ready to start here. So WaveTrend. Yeah, if you guys are fans of other oscillators, you are going to be in a good place here, but I think this one's going to give you a little bit more of an edge. So I really want to talk about why this is so much better for me than like RSI or MACD with crosses or no crosses. So this one is a wave trend oscillator with two smooth moving averages. So they are crossing, and we do play those crosses. We'll be talking about those. I'm not sure if you're referring to something else, but definitely something we can talk about. Six String Lover, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Awesome. So, give me just one quick moment to double check on some settings. I think we're all good here. Looking good to me. Okay. So let's get into it, guys. We are going to be jumping right on in. So I'll stick my face there. Perfect. All right, guys. Here we are. Wave trend oscillators. So what are oscillators in general? Why do we use them? What's the point of this? Why are you here? We're going to get to all of that. But first off, let's talk about the intraday trader's dilemma. What is our job as an intraday trader? We got to decide on directionality. We got to have a bias. Otherwise, we're just guessing. We're just gambling. That's no good. Got to have a bias, and we got to know whether just because we think might get a little red doesn't mean it's going to sustainably, like stick the move. So is this move even worth taking that we're predicting? Is it just noise? We have to identify that. We also have to identify the best time to enter. So we might have an overall high time frame bias, but where do we actually pull the trigger? Where do we execute? And the most important is, how do I avoid getting chopped up? Because it feels terrible. It feels really bad to know the direction or have a conviction on the direction. You end up being right, but you just can't hold because maybe you entered at the wrong time. Maybe you entered with too much size. Whatever the issue is, we got to avoid that. So this is where, for me, I think the wave trend oscillator is becoming my best friend. I've started using this about 2 months ago, and I've been rocking my same indicator set for, years by now. So when there's something new that I find worthwhile on my screen, pretty cool. Yeah, so let's get into it here. Let's see, Jay saying WT or WTC. So the actual indicator on TradingView is called Wave Trend Oscillator by Crypt, KRYPT. That's the one that I use. There's also a good one by Lazy Bear. But yeah, let's jump on in. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be talking about what the wave trend oscillator actually is, why it's superior to other oscillators, also why we even need an oscillator in the first place, because a lot of people don't use them. I think they're pretty worthwhile, though. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about signals that this indicator gives us, as well as divergences. We're going to be talking about how I actually use this thing. So I use it as part of a system on fractal alignment, basically. And we're going to talk about what that means. And then we're going to jump into some examples, too. We're going to, we can do a fun game. We can just replay any old day and just try to figure out if this, we'll play the system how I would play it and see if it works. We can also go over some examples from this week that I took, and we can go over the one today that I messed up too. So I think that just about covers it. Yeah, let's jump on in. So Here is the WaveTrend Oscillator. And here's, whoops, and where am I? There I am. So this oscillator is, there we go, there's my mouse, up here. We have a few components that we'll talk about, but for right now, all you need to know is that it shows you overbought and oversold conditions. It's going to show you the trend strength and the direction overall, depending on how steep these lines are, and as well as, obviously up or down. It's going to show you momentum shifts before the price shifts. So that's really important. So often you will get a little bit of a leading indicator when your short-term moving average, the green here, is starting to curl at the bottom of the range. And by the time that it crosses over, usually, it allows you to be positioned for the move a little bit before that breakout on the time frame that you're talking about here. So this is really nice because the kind of secret sauce behind this oscillator compared to others is that it's all about kind of normalizing everything possible to just clarify the trend itself. And by that, I just mean that the way that they smooth both moving averages lends it to essentially being a very range-bound indicator between these two oversold and overbought zones. So it's going to give you a cleaner signal of overbought at the top here than like a MACD or an RSI will for that reason. So that's a little bit about why I love it. Let's jump into some details. Let's get into the meat here. So what are the components of the WaveTrend Oscillator? We have our two lines, the WaveTrend 1, WaveTrend 2. You can call it your signal line, the short-term one, and your whatever, I guess, baseline line for the other. So if you just pop this indicator open on TradingView, the one from I think his name's Crypt, KRYPT, something like that. You'll see the little bit different colors. I changed the blue to green because I think it's more intuitive. Because if the green line's over the red, I'm bullish. If the green line's below the red, bearish. So makes sense to me. And then we have the overbought and the oversold zones. So these are our two lines. First off, the green and the red. We also have the overbought, this little dotted green line here, and oversold, dotted red. So the zero line is right in the middle between this histogram, between the two sides of the histogram, this blue and the yellow here. So this, if you trade MACD, then you're probably familiar with this part of it. And if you use any kind of like stochastic oscillator or a MACD, this probably isn't too out of line from something you're familiar with either. So because of that, it's very easy to transition from using a MACD or an RSI or a stochastic oscillator into doing this. Most of the same strategies will work, but for me, I just find this one fires a little bit faster. So I had this, an RSI, a money flow indicator, and a stochastic all overlaid for a while, and I was just watching how they all interacted. And this one, more often than any of the others, was like the canary in the coal mine, giving the first hint. So I am a big fan of this thing. Checking up on comments. Hey, Harry, good to see you in here. Good to see you, JR. Thank you so much for coming in here, guys. We got a good crowd. Nice. Hey, and my man Talk. Good to see you, brother. And DJ 2 a.m. All the regulars. Awesome. So. Where was I? Let's get back into it here. Why WaveTrend oscillators? Why not a MACD? Why not an RSI? Why not a stochastic? Well, let's talk about it. So compared to the RSI, RSI is going to be a little more choppy. WaveTrend oscillator is going to be a little bit better at detecting the divergences. And I think that's because it smooths the trends, like I said. So when you're smoothing the trends, you just kind of smooth out the noise, and it becomes pretty easy to see when these divergences jump out at you. And we're going to have an example of that in just a little bit. Let's see. So going on MACD. So MACD is going to be a little bit slower for the momentum shifts. Remember I said this WaveTrend oscillator tends to pick up a candle or two earlier than a MACD will on the signal. So it's going to have clearer overbought and oversold levels. Again, just to do the trend smoothing. And I think it's easier to read at a glance for these reasons. So I think it's just, I think a good indicator gives you the information that you need from it as fast as possible. Like when you're cycling charts rapidly, you want it to jump out at you. So for the wave trend, this jumps out at me much more than a MACD or anything like that. And then compared to stochastic, you're just going to get fewer false signals, again, because of the smoothness of the trends. And same thing with the trend direction. The smoothness really does help. And there's a reason why most traders I know use EMAs over SMAs for any short-term action where it needs to be more responsive. So, so moving on, you guys are distracting me talking charts. I want to pop open the coin chart and take a look, but we'll get into that after. Right now, let's talk about some signals. So first off, we have crossovers, nice and simple. So this is the past week or so of spot or of QQQ. And these are some setups that I either took in real time or I recognized in hindsight. But they are all valid and we're going to talk about them. But first off, just really simple, right? Crossovers. You get the crossover here. And lo and behold, we get a pretty steep sell-off. And when do you consider going long? Well, at the bottom here, right at the end of the day, we do get a crossover again. And this is on the hourly chart. This is what I always kind of refer to first for my intraday trading. So, my weekly and daily charts, 4-hour charts, they're going to inform my bias into a morning. And then when I pop open a chart pre-market, I will look at the hourly, half hour, 15, 5, and look for fractal alignment in there. And we're going to talk about more about that. Don't worry. But in general, this hourly is such a nice chart, and you'll get these crossovers very cleanly indicating intraday price action. So you get the crossover at the beginning of the day. Very often you will get a trend day. And this is very replicable too. So you can see we got the crossover after hours here, right at the beginning of pre-market, and another crossover bullish basically at open. So there was a little bit of a wick out, and we can talk about why that happened, but pretty clearly fill in this gap here. But in general, price did want to go up. So you can get these really nice level-to-level trades when you use this system. And this is a good example this day because when we combine this system for directional bias with a simple level system like high, low, open, close, and looking for gaps, marking those out, we get very clean moves. We get a very clean buy signal off of the gap fill here. And we could trade that up until it fills the gap from pre-market. So that was a trade that I took. I actually believe I shorted out of open because on the low time frames, this was still bearish. And on the hourly, it just turned bullish once it fulfilled its goal down here. So I actually scalped short right to there, took it right off and just said, hey, I'm going to try a long. I just built a cushion. I'm going to try the long and I'm going to shoot for this target. And so that was one of my cleanest trades the past couple weeks here. And not a huge mover, but you get really clean moves and that's great gains. So that's why I love this, my fractal system that we're going to talk about more. But just in terms of crossovers, you can see pretty actionable stuff here, right? You get the crossover here and then right it open. Sure, there's a little chop, but in general, pretty clear that the trend wants to go up. Once it works itself out in this opening range, it's just in drift up mode until the next day we get another crossover. And then lo and behold, that is where momentum stalls. Sure, it takes a while, but we are seeing a divergence there, which we can talk about. And also eventually we do get the sell-off there. And when is it time to long again? Well, you guessed it. When the crossover happens into the close there. So really, really good stuff there. I'm a big fan of this because I'm a little bit of a psycho. Let's say that. I'm a breakout trader at heart, and I have to really temper that. So when I see a stock that it's like, okay, we have this level, we're coming up to it, and I'm looking for a breakout. But this helps temper my euphoria. And if I can see that the momentum, the hourly momentum is rolling over, I don't feel like I have to chase this because maybe it pops this and then backtests or even rejects. And that's where the roll starts. So I highly recommend it for that. Talk. You didn't see me in the trenches this week. You don't know. It's funny. Everybody thinks I'm stoic because they can't hear my thoughts, but a little crazy sometimes. Anyways, so let's see. We've got some more signals for you. The zero line. So you can play this the same as you would on a MACD. In general, if you're breaking up and over the 0 line right there, that's a good sign. In general, I like to start a position when you get the crossover, and then if we get strength through here, and I see this is really nice, where you see that the green line is actually expanding up even more off of the red signal line, right around that middle part, just straight surging. So that gives me a lot of confidence that I would look for a spot midday there on a low time frame pullback to add in and pyramid into this position with high confidence that we are going until we get the roll. And lo and behold, the next day gap up right into very, very obvious resistance. And hey, there's your trade. So 0 line, good stuff there. It's pretty simple. Above 0, bullish. Below 0, bearish. You guys got this. That's why I love these indicators. They're simple. It's a lot easier to read this than some of the other ones, in my opinion. So the next one here is a divergence. Divergences. So what we're looking for is price making a lower low, but the wave trend making a higher low. If we get that, it's going to be bullish. And this is an example of the opposite, of a bearish divergence, where price makes a higher high, but the wave trend makes a lower high. So you see very clearly we have this high, lower than this high, while at the same time, this high, the swing high, and it's also a crossover here, if you note, and a crossover here, the swing high, much lower. So this is a bearish divergence. As you can see, there's a very, very quick reaction to that. So that's some good stuff right there. I was going back, over the past couple of weeks looking for a really, really clean divergence. And when I saw this, I was like, oh man, I wish I traded this. That's beautiful. And this was back in August. So moving on, we also have the extreme zones, and this gives you a nice signal on its own or a nice confirmation if you get the crossovers here. Crossovers right at the overbought line. Chef's kiss, baby. Chef's kiss. High probability short setups. And what happens? They give us a short right out of the gate at open. And you could target maybe yesterday's low or something. Boom, easy money. All right, we got the short out of open here. You're just short out of the gates. If it's showing you all signs are bearish right out of the gates, you can with high conviction just say, hey, I'm going to size small. I'm just going to take the shot. And boom, you get the nice clean move. Here we go again. Pre-market, we get the bearish crossover, and it gives you a really clean short right out of the gate. And you just always take these out of the gate shorts just to the most immediate target. So, okay, we have this big stick right there, this big bottom wick. That's clearly a level, right? And also it lines up with this base here. So we draw that over. Yeah, there's an area of interest. I would be selling my very short move or just right into there. And then I'd be waiting for it to settle. So what this setup gives us is, like I said, a really high probability straight shot, usually out of the gate, so you get the nice high volume with the open. You already have your directional bias. You can feel confident about that. And usually the move will stick because of that opening volume. So I use a combination of these signals to make sure that, the confluence is there, that it's actually legitimate. But yeah, I really love, this is my bread and butter with this thing. Crossovers, pre-market into the overbought to short, or crossovers bullish. We don't see any on this chart, but crossovers bullish when it's oversold in the open to push up. Or often, if I do see this setup here, then I will take the short. I would have taken the short there, and then I will look for a change of character at that area for a potential long if the oscillator is starting to curl over. So for example, if I shorted here and I swung it overnight, I did not. But if I did, then I would be looking around here. Probably there was a level here if we look to the left. So probably there was a reason why this double bottomed here. And then I would be starting to look to get involved in a long as we started to see this rollover at the overbought or under the overbought even. So what else do we got? Oh, well, thank you, Hercules Jack. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. It's always so nice seeing new faces in here. So please, yeah, appreciate that. And if you like this, come on and join us in the Trade the Pool Discord. We got great traders there every day. And also, I have a personal Discord as well. You're more than welcome to come find me. You can find that on my Twitter, in my Twitter bio. That's at Steve Tileman, STEVTEILMANN. All right. now that I am done shilling, let's get back to the good stuff, guys. So we talked about a couple different signals, divergences, overbought, oversold. We talked about the crossovers and the zero line. So now let's get into how to work with this a little bit more. So like, what's the actual system I use? Let's talk about it. So what's a fractal, first off? Each time frame is a different fractal. And by that I mean a self-similar pattern that repeats at different scales. So when we're talking fractals, you can think about it like, okay, the shape that our blood vessels make and the shape that the Nile Delta makes when you look at it from space, they make the same shape. You know, if you go down to microscopic levels, you'll see, oh my God, I'm about to illustrate just how long it's been since I did high school science. What you got? Proton circling, electron circling a proton, or whatever the heck. You know, I'm a trader. I don't know anything, but you'll see that same thing in the galaxies, right? With planets, so, you know, moons circling planets, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, there is a fractal nature to the universe, to some degree or another. In terms of trading, Fibonacci's just work. Fractals seem to play out. And, you know, a high time frame cup and handle, you will see intraday lower time frame cup and handles form in there. And I'm not saying it's magic. I'm not even saying that there is an intrinsic blueprint to the universe, although there probably is. What I am saying is that traders look for these things, and so they work. So they're a self-fulfilling prophecy, if nothing else. So when I'm talking about looking for fractals in my setup, what I'm actually talking about is, like I said, we had that hourly chart that I was looking at pre-market. So when I identify that pre-market on the hourly, I will zoom on in. I will go into the half an hour chart, the 15-minute chart, the 5-minute chart, even the 1 or 2-minute chart. And I will pinpoint where these turns are occurring so that I know exactly where I should be entering and, you know, basically how strong this trend will be. So the key principle for these fractals are that when multiple timeframes align in the same direction, you're going to get dramatically increased probability of the move playing out. And that is good. So, oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm getting some sound coming through. Can you guys hear that? Let me find what tab that's coming from. I apologize. Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys heard that voice. That scared the crap out of me. Let's see. I'm sure it's in one of these tabs that I got open. What in tarnation? Am I just being haunted? Is that what's going on? You guys didn't hear anything? Okay, so I'm actually crazy. Okay, all right. This is like every other week, Tim, my producer and my good friend, he'll say something in my ear that nobody else can hear. And it's so hard not to reply to him and look crazy to you guys. Okay, sorry about that. Apparently we are good on sound. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right, sorry guys. If anybody's trying to get into the stream on Discord, I am going to get that set up here too for you. And thank you so much for your patience in that regard. Adrian, I've been hearing voices. I wasn't lying when I said I was a little crazy there. JR, do I ever stream during market? I do it in my Discord. About once or twice a week I try to. And you can find me on in there. I also try to pop into the Trade the Pools Discord because they have live trading streams every day and they have really good traders in there. So don't feel like you can only go to me. There's really good people in there. I'm getting the stream set up in the Discord here for anybody trying to watch there. Thank you for your patience. There we go. Okie doke. You're talking SoFi. I love the chart. I'm in SoFi. We will talk about that. Yeah, JR, that's where you can find me in my Discord. Let's get back into this. DJ 2 a.m. making me want to listen to some Pixies. All right. Okay. So we were talking fractals. We were talking fractals and how I trade them. So when you have these aligned fractals, that's when you get the straight shots. That's when you have the high confidence move, especially out of the gate with that opening volume. And that's when I will size up with my system. If I don't see that aligned fractal, sometimes I don't even trade at all. And that's really nice to have a system where you can say, hey, I don't like this. I don't know what this is going on. This is hard for me to read. I don't have to trade it. That keeps me out of the market when things are a little bit more frothy, a little more volatile, and a little less clear on the trend. Because, hey, everybody wants to catch a good trend, and it's so easy to get chopped up if you do not have that. So that's why we look for the alignment. We will jump into some examples to show you exactly what I mean. And thank you, Ramen Boo. I appreciate that. Welcome. Okay, so God, you guys are making me want to buy more SoFi. Yeah, we're gonna pull up that chart because that is a good example. If anybody just saw me on Trader TV, I mentioned a chart Palantiring. I forgot what it was. I think Hood. So SoFi is a really good candidate for the next Palantiring chart, where it just, you've got the IPO, crazy high, you've got the crazy lows in the base, and it comes all the way screaming back up, and then it just surges higher and higher, building that right wall so explosively. So, Adrian, you're going to give me a 10-hour lecture on SoFi. I don't know about all that. I don't know if I need that. But yeah, we'll definitely talk. Oh, I got a cat. You guys want cat tax? Say hi, Cleo. All right. Sorry, guys. It's casual Friday. We're having a good time. No, Nick, I haven't been working out. I need to start. I'm just about to start working out again, actually. I just signed up for a rock climbing gym. But we'll talk about that later. We'll hang out later. Let's talk about charts. Let's get back to making money here. So fractals. Let's talk about the 3 timeframe framework. Timeframe framework. Yeah. So we have the high time frame, the daily, and the 4-hour, and I'd throw the weekly in there as well. So these are essentially going to frame our setup. Let me let my cat out so she doesn't meow at me. Come on. There we go. All right. High time frames, weekly, daily, 4-hour. These inform our bias going into the morning. So if you're a day trader, then these are not going to be the end all be all, because a lot of down can happen in a bullish daily or weekly trend. You can't just slap ask and expect it to work. Then you have to dig in deeper. So if you are a swing trader, though, these can be very good indicators. And for example, on SoFi, I know that daily oscillator just starting to curl up. So I love to see that. That being said, still going to be ups and downs as the hourly, half-hour, 15-minute oscillators all work themselves out and kind of work themselves into alignment, essentially. So we have those high time frames. We take those high time frames, they give us our overall bias. If we're day traders, then we take a medium time frame and we do this pre-market to establish the directionality of the trend on intraday time frames. So that's, for example, that hourly chart that we were looking at with those really clear crossovers. So we start there. We go, okay, say it's 15 minutes before market open. I'm looking at my hourly chart and I'm looking for any type of directionality in the oscillator. Are we expanding? Are the lines getting wider apart and pushing down and more of a velocity? Are they just crossing over? Are they relatively flat and choppy? So if they're flat and choppy, especially on the hourly, I don't really have a bias. I need to use something else. Maybe I'll play level to level. Maybe I will just wait and sit it out. Just wait for higher time frames to become in an alignment, something like that. But it's a sign that I do not have a high conviction directional setup. If I do, however, see that on the hourly, then I can burrow in and I can look on the half hour. I can look on and see where that change is going to happen. So on that chart that we were at before, I'm going to go back to it real quick. So on this chart, when we get these crossovers, when we get this one, for example, before a big trend down day, we see the hourly crossover maybe half an hour before market opens, right? If we were to look at this area of the chart on a 30-minute chart, we would see this crossover happen earlier. If we looked at the 15-minute, we would see it happen even earlier, because when an hourly trend shifts, that has to start somewhere, right? It always starts on the lower time frame, and then it becomes visible eventually on the higher time frames. And that's why the higher time frames confirm the lower time frame move. You guys following me? Does that make sense? So double check, make sure I'm not missing anything. Tyler talking about FRO. Yeah, FRO, Frontline. We can talk about this chart too after we get through the meat here. This is my favorite tanker. I'm a massive tankers bull going into next year. I think there is a perfect storm for an amazing bull run for tankers, and I am placing my bets on Frontline. I also really love ECO. I love INSW. Sting is okay too. TNK, DHT. There's a lot of ones that I like them all. All right. Sorry guys, I'm very distractible. Let's get back to the fractals here. You guys just have like such good trader chat going on in here that I always I always want to just jump into whatever you guys are talking about. But we can do that after. So we were talking about the medium time frames, and we were talking about how the signal to go long or short will appear earlier for each of the time frames. For example, the hourly, maybe it appears pretty soon or pretty close to the actual open, whereas the half hour came in maybe 30 minutes before, 20 minutes before. Maybe the 15-minute was showing a hint 10, 15 minutes earlier. Maybe the 1 minute was showing a lot earlier. And if you caught it right there as this little scalp, and then you just kept trailing your stops, and you're like, oh wait, this is starting to progress on bigger time frames. Then you can catch really, really, really sniped, like entries on positions with these low time frames. So JR asking, how cautious am I using this prior to earnings? I'm incredibly cautious prior to earnings because earnings break TA. And by that, I mean, TA is about taking the data we have access to, looking backwards and extrapolating forwards. So we can assume that the trends of the prior information we have access to will continue until there is new information which changes the trajectory of the prior trend. So earnings are one big bag of changing the potential trajectories. So there's a lot of new data that's coming out. There's a lot of new volume, a lot of new people entering to play earnings, a lot of people taking profit into earnings. There's a lot of everything is in flux essentially. So Joe, your compliments distracted me. Thank you, Joe. So I don't use this to play earnings because I don't play earnings at all, but I will wait for the earnings to happen. And then I will look for a post-earnings gap up setup. If I'm bullish, I will look for a tightening formation after, and then this system will absolutely be a part of that. So let's see. Let us see. We talked about high time frames. We talked about middle time frames. Let's talk about the lower time frames, and let's get in some charts because that's where we're really gonna see what's going on. The lower time frames, that's like the 5 minute, 1 minute, and I'll include like 10 minute, 10, 15 is kind of in between. And the purpose for these are going to be essentially the actual entry, timing, and confirmation. So remember, high time frame, that's just which direction has the edge. Or is it a bull market? Is it a bear market? What are we doing? Is it a crab market, kangaroo market? Let's figure it out. This is where we find it. Then we go into the middle time frames and we say, where are we going today? That's what I care about because I want to make money today. I don't know about you guys. So then after we do that, okay, well, let's hone in. Let's figure out where we're pulling the trigger. And that's where these come into play. So you got to have all three. If you're not trading with multiple time frames, please, I implore you, I beg of you, start doing it. I don't care what you need to do. I don't care if you need to, hide your YouTube videos or your Discord or your whatever you might have up on your screen. Get another monitor, whatever you have to do to have multiple time frames, because it is an absolute game changer. So we know what our plan is. I don't know why this slide is in here. We're going to go to some examples. That's a remnant from a previous one. Okay, so let's jump into some charts. Let's jump into charts. That's going to be fun. I think we've got enough here to get some examples going. There we go. Talk making a good point. We are in limbo until financial data next week and or USA-China meeting. So we got CPI. They could have released NFP. They didn't. They pump us on CPI. I wonder if something else might cause us to go down, and maybe in time for the China meeting to go back up. I don't know. They like doing this. This is not a conspiracy. What I'm trying to articulate is that when you are at all-time highs, what price tends to do, because everybody wants to play the breakout. Everybody wants the breakout, but it is not always as straightforward as buying when you break out. Very often, you get this. You get breakout and then shop. You consolidate at the level of the breakout. See what I'm saying? We got the breakout. We are bullish. Why couldn't we do that, though? We can either correct via time, like this, which is usually what happens on a stock like SPY, which is, it doesn't go down. Sure, it goes down, but it doesn't go down. You know what I'm saying? If you're a bad company that goes down, you're not in SPY. So in general, when you're at all-time highs and everything's bullish and volatility is low, we're in positive gamma, you tend to digest breakouts via time as opposed to on something with more volatility. You might digest with sharp spike down, then reclaim and chop it out and go, whatever. Point being, we probably shouldn't be expecting crazy bullish lockout rally just like that. It could happen. Sometimes it does happen. But in general, it doesn't. In general, we should probably be playing for gap fill, new high, back test, something like that, like constructive action here as the moving averages, our supports, catch up. See what I'm saying? So I agree. This is a good time to not be super heavily positioned. If you're in longs that you got in a good spot, hopefully way lower, maybe right here, it's a great spot too. Definitely hold them. Don't be scared, but save some cash to buy the dips, because we're probably going to get some dips on the way here. We are pretty extended from our moving average cloud here, these guys here. Every time that we get so extended after surging past a new high, we tend to like to revisit the moving average cloud. Sometimes it's not so crazy. Just pop up here, come back, immediately back up. Now we're overextended, pop back here, go back up, overextended, pop back here. See what I'm saying? Sometimes it's a little more egregious, like this one here. But when you get something like this, that's very bullish. Why is it bullish to get a big red candle at all-time highs? Well, people were scared up here. People were scared at all-time highs. Then, boom, everybody monetized their puts. We created kind of like a divergence. The volatility pushing down gave us room to push back up. It's like when you squat, it's like if you want to jump really tall, you push down and jump up, It's the big money Mitch Bollinger Band squat setup. If anybody is a Trade the Pool regular, that one there. So So yeah, that's what we got going on for SPY here. Let's get into some examples of this thing that we're actually talking about though. So let's go to an hourly. I'll get rid of some of these. So we're gonna go through one right here first, and then you guys can give me a random day, and then we can just jump on into one and just do it blind. Real quick though, just catching up on comments here. You guys talking rare earths, very cool. Yes, I like watching USAR and UAMY. I want to see what happens with the China talks, of course. In general, I don't think these names are done, especially not long term. These companies are essential. We do have to consider that short to midterm, we might be looking at trend exhaustion, momentum exhaustion. We might also be looking at so many companies are doing the whole rare earths thing. We could see a bit of a supply glut if this trend continues and it's the hot marketable thing, and that could provide some headwinds mid long term. Anyways, we still need this stuff. These companies were bombed out. I'm still keeping them on my list for sure. Going back to our example here. Going back to our example here. Let's jump into it. So we are going to be, this is a good day to start. Actually, this one was super clear. We got the crossover right out of open. So this is the 16th. So the 16th. Little pro tip. So I want the last candle that shows here for the hourly to show as much as possible pre-market and cut off at the open. So if I used a regular hourly, I would be getting the 9 to 10 movement. So it would be half pre-market, half cash session. If I use my handy dandy 65-minute candles, then this candle closes at 625. Well, this one opens at 625, so this one closes at 625. So essentially, you get the nice clean division of what's happening pre-market and what's happening cash session. So here we are pre-market. First thing to note, hourly is in an uptrend. We have expansion upwards. We are approaching overbought, but this is nothing to sell. Nothing to sell. We can look for a sell signal to form, which is what we will be doing. But in general, this is not yet bullish. It is approaching overbought. I'm sorry, not yet bearish, approaching overbought. So we have the 60-minute here. And let's see, I'm going to do a replay to make this easier. Okay, 415. Okay, so this is where we are pre-market. So now we can go to the 30-minute and see this one closes, or this candle closes right at the beginning of pre-market. So now what are we seeing on the 30-minute oscillator? I'll make some more room here for us. What are we seeing on the 30-minute oscillator that was different from the hourly? Let's go back. Hourly, especially here, it's big expansion. And then right here, guys see the trend change just a little bit, starting to roll over. So that's just our first inkling of maybe this trend is toppy. Maybe this trend is toppy and intraday we go down. So then we look at the half hour. And this is where this gets much more worrisome for bulls, right? Because we have the rounding that we saw in this hourly. Like the hourly was just like this change right here. See the slope changed from very steep to more gradual right there. So that is where the hourly is doing, but the half hours progress more. See, it's continued this process of rolling over to almost flat. Then it catches up to this, or this, essential support catches up and it tries to bounce off of that. And it does a little, but then we see as it gets into overbought over the green line there, our indicator starts to flatten out more. So still not a sell signal, because what it could do, and what I've seen many times, is it go, okay, we're going to back test this line, and then we're going to yeet up and and then it can go up way overbought and come down and back test off the overbought level and form a bullish divergence where it gives price room to go up even more. So that's why we have to wait for the actual signal. But this is building a bias here. So the half hour, we got an inkling that maybe we go up a little more, but probably we're pretty close to the top and we should be looking to short. So let's go 15. Okay, now we're getting spicy here. So first thing to notice, in crazy velocity, pre-market, and then it gets stomped out pretty quick here. Way overbought, going crazy. We're going crazy. Bulls are going crazy out here. So we get the bearish crossover here, yet price remains flat. So what we want to see, so here we get the pop and we try to reclaim bullishness, but then heading into pre-market, we get our bearish crossover as price fails to break through here. So what can we note from this? First off, this seems to be an important level. We can mark this out, and I would mark out a zone for the wicks like that. This is the area that should not be encroached or should be swept and then rejected. They should find sellers over here or not test it if we are going down. So what we can do is we can, if it breaks above, if we were at the bottom of the range and the oscillators look different, I would be looking long. But I can just be sitting here saying, I guess they're going to keep running it up. Like that's how I was today. Like I was looking for a sell and it just never came. I think it's going to come Monday. But what I should have done was just not try until I got the signal. But so we're watching this high for encroachment and all that. This looks bearish. But also we do have a P-shaped volume profile with a big gap here. So it's just filling in the gap for now. So a little undecided in that regard, but this is starting to build our bearish bias. 10 telling us just about the same thing. So now we get to the 5, and that's just in straight sell mode. So see, it got the sell signal over here when it tried to push up and then couldn't. Got the sell signal, and then it created a lower low. Although this also created a lower low, but in general, it looks quite weak. So in general, looking pretty bearish, starting to roll. It tried to reclaim here when the 15-minute did, and nope. So we are still above the 50 or the 0 line. We are still way above the oversold line. So still room to go on the 5. And now we are just playing a game of identifying our entry. And now this, like really ugly right out of the gates. So we have, let's recap. We have ugly on the 1 minute, ugly on the 5 minute, but holding VWAP, worth noting, but still ugly. Starting to get pretty ugly. Don't like this look at all. We got like a double top, we got the crossover, and this is all happening right at the overbought. So this is pretty textbook. On like a 15-minute, like a swing, I could just short this out of the gate. If I was in 0 DTE options, it might go up here first and it might scare the crap out of me and I might be down 50% and sell or something, So in general, you can wait for the confirmation on lower time frames if you're trading a faster instrument. If you're trading like a monthly contract or shares, maybe you don't really care if it pops up a little bit, Maybe you're saying it's going down here, whether it's today or tomorrow or next week. I don't really care. So totally dependent on your system there. But that's informing our bias. Up to the 30 again. Yep, just treading water, but it's in the danger zone. And hourly is, like I said, still going to be showing bullish, but just starting to show signs. So when the hourly confirms, then we will be able to get involved for like a longer term swing, but we can get involved sooner. And how we would do that is we would look for essentially a 15-minute, we want this to see this confirm. So if we have a big green 15-minute candle, this could invalidate and we could keep going higher. So we want to see a bearish 15-minute candle that would confirm, and then probably it would align with, I see this pivot here. These blue dots are the value area low of the pre-market range. And obviously it's a pivot here in this ascending triangle that broke out and is trying to backtest. So if we lose this area, lose this pump, then we can probably pretty safely target the gap fill. So that's going to be our setup. So we're going to be looking for a place to sell. Maybe it loses VWAP and we play the back test. Maybe it loses this and we play that back test. Maybe it looks above and fails, and we could play like the loss of one of these levels after it does that with higher confidence. So that is how we're framing this. Now let's get into it and see what actually happens. Remember, 5 minutes right out of the gate like this. So we're gonna do a few things as a thought experiment. We're gonna say, okay, what'll happen if we just take it right at open? Will we get sweated? Will it work? And then we're also going to try to find the actual perfect time frame. So for the longer term trader, this is bearish enough. It was bearish enough to send it, in my opinion. So we'll pretend that we just short right out of the open in one account, and on the other, we'll be looking for the perfect time. All right, 5 minutes into open. Oh, I'm sorry. This is right before open here. First opening candle. Tries to push up to the pivot. See the big value area high pivot. Instant rejected. Bearish as heck. Bearish as heck. It also broke this little low here. And it actually broke this pivot that we mentioned, the value area low too. Sure looks bearish to me, but they could run it back up first. So if I was doing the just set it, forget it, I would already be in short here. And let's see what happens. See, they might run you. They might run you. And what are we seeing on the 1 minute while this is happening? So see, the 1 minute tried to bottom out. So if I was being super granular, looking at the 1 minute here, bearish right out of the gate. So you could have shorted that. Obviously the 1 minute's going to give you some noise because you get the crossover immediately right after too. And then it goes, okay, we were oversold on the 1 minute. So there's probably needs to be a little bit of a push up. See how we're using these nestled timeframes to kind of inform our bias? So because we are overall bearish, but the 1 minute right after open is kind of showing like, hey, it's got a little bit of room, right? So let's look and see where it rejects. Where does this stop expanding? Under the 0 line, it's already starting to roll. And it's when we tagged into our zone of resistance up here. So setting up to be pretty darn bearish. Let's see if we get a really nice 1 minute signal that would give us a precise entry. There's our signal. And we even get a nice wick back into our EMA cluster. So I think that this would be the time to enter, to really snipe it. And I don't remember what happened this day. We'll see if it runs the stops. It very well could. This could pretend to be coming down and then just yeet back up again because it still is under the 50. But I don't necessarily think. We can take a look at some other time frames here to just kind of check our bias. So this is just coming under the 50, the 0 line. But it is starting to roll just a little bit or curl just a little. So there is a possibility for this to try to mean revert back up a little or even up here before going down. If we are just majorly bullish, not unheard of to be overbought, just test the middle and come back. But in general, they do like to go high to low. So there we are on the 5 and the 1. And then on the 15, so this is the first 15-minute candle, and you can see that we're starting to see that expansion down. So we're starting to see confirmation of this bearish signal from open, where it tried to push up and failed, and momentum is starting to roll. So this is all looking very bearish. So I stand by the 1 minute entry right here. So now we're just going to play it out. Well, let's mark it out first. So I would take the short right there. Conventionally, stop there makes sense, but could also do there. And if I get this stop ran and then I see heavy sell volume, I'm jumping back in somewhere, you know? So I'm okay getting stopped out for a small loss if it helps me confirm that we're going to have a bigger move that I can play. And where are we going with this? We are taking it down to, that looks good. Let's see, the close area, the pre-market open area, and we also have the hourly trigger for me there. So this would be the zone that I'd be looking to get out at. Let's call it that. All right, we framed our trade. Now let's see how it goes. They're smoking us already, but see, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so let's pause. Oh, wow. This is a wild day. This was not good. This did not go as planned. So let's analyze what I did wrong here. So see, that 1 minute trigger didn't end up confirming. It invalidated very fast. So the 1 minutes can be too fast. 2 minutes can even be too fast. But this one, see, that was just showing bullish here. And now it tested and it still does have room. I didn't pick a very good example here, did I? And now we have the 5 minute starting to curl. So we do have a little bit of room up. Did the 15 minute sell get invalidated? So see, now this is trying to invalidate here. So this 15 minute close will be important. And just taking inventory of the hourly, like that's, you know, still very bullish, right? So I did jump the gun. We didn't get enough confirmation there, I guess. I am not a perfect trader myself, absolutely. So let's see if this idea is just wrong overall or what actually ends up happening. I would have definitely gotten stopped out here, by the way. Huh. I picked the worst example. All right. Let's see. There's a sell signal on the 1. Curling into the 5, but still not topping yet. We are noting a very polarized volume profile here. So this makes me think that it wants to come back here, but let's see. 15 minute, let's check on that divergence, or sorry, that signal. Yeah, so that shook the bull or the bears pretty hard there. Oh, okay. I should have looked left more. So this kind of makes sense that they're still reaching up to heal this area. I should have taken more time to frame it. All right, well, let's see what happens. So there's the sell. Okay. So see, it takes a while sometimes. So let's see what we could learn from this example. Where was the actual entry? That was too soon. We needed to dig up here. And there's the 70 handle, 670. Okay, so 670 plus, it's the first area of the sell-off for them to negotiate. When they reach up and they want to come back into this area, first they take the they test the swing low. So the swing low here. Yep, that looks pretty good. Did they get the close? Nope, they didn't. Okay. So if I was patient, you would see top wicks here, and you would see the rounding of the 15. Our 30s and at this point, our 30 is still bullish. Our 30 gives a late signal, so that's pretty useless for us. If we waited for this hourly signal, we wouldn't be buying till like here, which would work, right? Like we still get a lot of the move down. So if you wait for the confirmation, you get the higher probability, but you miss some of this, which probably for the best because that would have stopped me out. So on the shorter time frames, let's find exactly where the signal was. Right there. So pushed up very high into 670 and then big red candle, decent red volume, and it showed that there's a seller there. And then it tries to push up again. And when it can't, kind of starts fading there. Real quick, Everzile, yeah, depends on the broker. If it's options, you cannot. If it is shares, you definitely can, but you gotta figure out how to do a limit order with good till close or good till cancel. Trade the pool. Let's see. You should be able to do a limit order that is GTC instead of day for the time in effect, and that's basically saying that the order will fill after hours. That should help you. If that doesn't work, then oh, you can't at all. I don't trade after hours on Trade the Pool. That's good to know though. The help area, the customer service in the Discord is amazing, but it's definitely out of my wheelhouse. I only scalp. Oh, Limit Works. Yeah, Limit Works. That's what I thought, Adrian. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've done that. Okay. Awesome. All right. Sorry to interrupt. Let's go back to me losing money on this fake example here that I misplayed. I would have made money eventually, but if I was in a 0 DT, this would have stopped me out. So I would have taken a stop out, seen the weakness here, and probably trying to take a stab at it again here. We get the nice waterfall, and then it starts confirming on multiple time frames. So it confirms at 7:14 my time on the 2. On the 5, it confirms at 7:30. On the 15 at 7:45. On the hourly at 8:30. So you can kind of see how that progresses from the real sniped entry down. This one wasn't very easy though. I gotta say, this is not like the easiest one. This yeehaw, pretty mean. But overall, the hourly did tell us that this was going to go down. And where is it going to go? Well, a nice bounce right off the hourly trigger there. I think it would want to clean up down there. But if not, then this is acceptable for a target too. This is basically midterm rising support. But let's just play this out real quick and see if anything else interesting happens. If we do get our full target, still very weak. You'll have to see that. Now we're looking at like a double bottom type situation if it holds, but this is looking like it doesn't want to hold to me. It's trying, but looks bearish to me. Yeah, boom, there you go. So that would have been filling our target. So we would have gotten filled right there to get out, but then it does look like it wants to go down and test our trigger there. So that would be another trim if you held runners, and then you're just holding for a home run, but I don't think it goes further than that because this is when I would get out and then look long, maybe long here, because we basically saw a big stop run into a key level. And I bet if we pause and look at a high time frame, nice. So we did identify the bottom at the very least. So let's look at the high time frames and see what we saw, or see. We'll go back up and see where that reversal happened. So on the 1 minute, it was to the tick, right? That was the bottom when we got the signal. Boom. If you just waited to see this candle print, it would close right there. You would have your crossover. Great entry. But that is obviously, being very like gunslinger. I'm going to trade on a, it's a whole trend down day. I'm going to snipe it on a 1 minute. So let's see where the safer buy is. This daily trigger for me helped me a ton. Say like visually, I bet this is going to be the area where we start to find buyers after we sweep this low here. Big level. Okay, so now we're trying to identify where these buy signals came in. On the 5, this is a beautiful buy signal. You get the crossover, and it's actually on a look back candle where it closes right into support. So it might be a little scary, but it looks really good, and this helps you feel better about it. It looks really good in terms of like you're buying, you caught the bottom, and now you're buying a red candle into support, which should hold. and go higher. So the 5 minute, I like the 5 minutes for day trading, intraday there, like to try to catch a bottom like this. So I think that this would be the candle that I would like to enter on. And okay, now where are we going? We're probably going to go back up to test this high or this low, I'm sorry, and the hourly trigger and the bottom of this volume shelf. So that my mean, this would be the big play. And then this would just be a little, hey, I have a cushion. Hey, I think it's done. Hey, I bet we get a pop. I'll take it right here. Mean reversion, right? Trend down because it showed on the high time frame. Now mean reversion until we get confirmation on an hourly that a bottom is in, and we have not yet. So let's just run this out, see what happens, and then we'll do another example if you guys want, and yeah, see what happens. So that would be out right there. And we'll play it through to the end of the day, see what it does, but it doesn't really matter for our purposes there. It's VWAP, nice. That's the other target. You know, if you're playing mean reversion, you buy the low and you trade it back to VWAP. And how are we going to close? Bearish close. Oh, save stick, bullish close. All right, so let's see the hourly and see if we got, nope, no meaningful buy signal there. So I would not be swinging anything long, or at least swinging SPY long. I see indecision on the 30. And yeah, not much to note otherwise there. So that's one example there. Wasn't a perfect one, but it did show you, even when you're wrong, you can kind of give weight to the higher time frames there. And I'm not saying like average down up here. That's probably risky. Probably take a stop and then look for another spot where it's showing the weakness. So that is a good example. Let's find one more. Got a replay here. And if anybody has a day that they would like my opinion on how I would trade it, you can give me a day too, and I can just put that in. All right. So how about, why don't we just pick a random day? Keep it keep the data. What is that? It's like a double blind or something. I don't know. Let's pick a random day. Let's go back further so I don't remember anything. We're going to start it before market opens. All right. So Tuesday, June 10th, 4 o'clock Western time. 5, 6 to 6:30. Okay, so we're going to go to the 65 minute. And whoops, I'm one candle too early. There it is. Okay, so here's where we are pre-market. First off, let's zoom out a little bit, see what we see. Okay, choppy rally, big flush out, big spike up, higher low, swept this high. We are bullish market structure, higher low, refilling right here. Swept this high, very bullish market structure. Starting to chop a little bit, and we are getting a little bit. We didn't hit the overbought, but it is worth noting that this was the first day in quite a while that we didn't make significant progress up. We're trading sideways here. So that being said, hourly is showing potential for bullishness, but we don't give it as much weight as we would if it was a crossover down here, or ideally down here. These are high probability because they are oversold. This very well could be a fake out that needs to go further. So nothing super definitive here, but we maybe would say slight edge bullish. On the half hour, we're starting to see a little roll. So maybe comes down a little and tests whether we are bullish on the hourly or whether that signal rejects. 15-minute here. Pre-market range violated the previous days. That's not bullish. Can't get above here. So maybe what we would look for is this area to transact if we're a little bit bullish, and then a potential to revert there, to reverse, and P shape, balance shape. I think it wants to come back in here or come back in here. That's what I'd like to say, because we're at the top of the range and the 15-minute, a little bit bearish here. A little bit bearish. Potentially getting a bearish signal on the 15. Going into the 5, probably going to be more bearish. Yeah, that bearish signal came earlier. And now it's starting to curl, so maybe it pops up a little bit, and then we get a nicer sell. So I think that's what we want to do. We want to wait for a little bit of a pop, and then we'll look for a short-term sell signal on the 5 or the 2, something like that. So I think that's our plan. So when we find that, I'll pause it, we'll frame the trade. But where we'll be looking for is, man, it's like, oh, is this just a flag? So yeah, we'll this is not giving me super high confidence, so let's just see. Let's just see if we get a clean entry, clean signal. So the 2-minute just puking right there. That's a little sus. And at the 0 line and trying to cross over. So let's see what we see on the open. We'll look at the 5-minute ORB. Five-minute opening range here. Big spike up to this zone we marked and rejected, right? So was that our entry already? I don't know. Let's see. I would say probably not quite yet, because we just got the crossover here on the 2. Let's go even to the 1. So a couple ways you could look at this. We rated the liquidity high. If we break the low, you could take that fade. You could take that trade down here, I think. If you smash through this and backtest it, well, then you could entertain a long, because we do technically have room, but I just don't, I can't be too bullish here. I do think it's possible that they need to sweep this, though. And the hourly is not overtly bearish. That's got room up. So I don't think I can short that yet, but that very well could be on the low time frame, the opportunity, and maybe you get a nice clean scalp. So let's see what happens here. It's an interesting example too. Okay, yeah, so it's still too early to short. We want to see what it does into our level. Okay, so now that's a sell signal, that big red candle on the 1. Did it confirm anything on the 5 though? Nope, 5 is still got room. So I can't be ready to short that yet. It's a tricky one. This is starting to look a little bearish, but we could pop up. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what we get. We'll go to the 5. So this zone is responsive, makes me want to short, but I need to get some kind of confirmation. I can't short when the 5 is expanding like this. 15 telling me anything? Man, it's so choppy. This is really hard. This is not a clear signal like we get sometimes. Okay, so we cannot break that level. And now we have another here. So now I bet on the 5, we might have gotten our signal. Almost. We're still waiting on the 5. I think a 5 is a good one to enter on. There's our signal. Oh, see? Close did not secure it. Go back to the 1, get super granular. Still probably have a little bit of room. Still holding the 0 line. But let's find out if it's real. Yeah, that 5 faded the faded this potential roll, and now it's starting to expand up, but it is getting overbought. So I'd just be sitting and watching so far in this session. Now we're starting to get interesting because we're starting to get into overbought and we're starting to get over this high. So we can start to see what reactions happen here, whether there's a change of character over this high, whether there's a change of character and it starts to roll here like it often does. Because if you're right here, this looks really bullish too, but it ends up topping out right there. So let's just see. Let's just see. Like I said, I have no idea what happens here. Big surge up. That's why we can't short yet, but let's see if we get a signal. Come on. Give me a signal. There's a signal on the 5. And I think this candle looks like a good one to employ, essentially, a setup. I know I'm kind of cheating because we have a few extra bars, but I'll tell you how I would trade this. So that's an impulse candle. We have a crossover on the 5. We have an impulse candle after trying to push above a key level. We've shown that there are sellers here. So first off, what I do, I mark out the sellers. There's the pivot. That's where the sellers are. So if I'm a bear, what I look for is, this is the impulse candle. It is uneven in terms of distribution of volume. So what I mean by that is that it is an imbalance to the sell side, which means that sell orders were filling the sells were pushing this down, but there are still orders here that would like to be filled. So what market makers would like to do is very neatly iron this out by pushing back up here and then moving it lower. So how I would frame the trade is I would be looking to get short somewhere in there with a conservative stop here, but I would put the stop there, give it a little bit of room. And if I am targeting VWAP, it's going to be about a 1-to-1, which isn't great. But if I target the low, if I do think that this is the high and we're going to be, this is the high of the day, I would expect us to, at the very least, I like 600 here. I like 600. It's a round number. And that's where I'd be looking to trim. So that's how I would frame this. Now let's go to the 1 minute and see if this works. And because this isn't like a super high probability, like the waves, I'm not even saying like I wouldn't size up on this. I probably would take it. I like taking looks that are maybe not the super cleanest, but this isn't like a super high probability that I'd size up on. That being said, let's see what we get. Is it just gonna, so this right here, that might be all that they give us, which would that have filled me? Yeah, that would have filled me. Okay, cool. Yeah, 601.30. So big impulse candle down. That's when we get bearish. We wait for the wick up into our cloud, our EMA cloud there, and into that imbalance, that fair value gap for any ICT boys out there. And then we get the move down. Okay, instantly we free roll this trade. We say, okay, it should not. This gap, we can mark this as resistance now. This should hold. Conservative stop over there. Safe stop right over there. And if you want to be real safe or real conservative, you put it right there. And so you're just free rolled completely. So see how it plays out. But we can't lose now. Instant stop out. Oh man, all right. That would make me mad. But what we can see is it's coming back into this area, so we can see if this holds or not. I'm getting the worst examples. I'm like, all right, I framed this. It's all part. Boom, out. Okay, fine. Playing with our zone, but see, it is respecting that as resistance for now. The setup would be invalidated if it sweeps higher. Setup held. Setup held. This would sweat me though. If I was in this wouldn't feel very good. So let's now it's starting to kind of look constructive, huh? Double bottom off VWAP. Let's see if there's any reason for us to really trust this one. The hourly, that's a big bottom wick. That's spooky for bears. And we just have expansion on the hourly. Why was I even looking bearish on this? I forgot. Everything is just showing expansion up except for this 15 minutes, the very first sign of weakness. And the 5 minute is weak. So, all right. Not my best example here, I don't think, but we'll see how it goes. This is what I would be interested in, this 15 minute here. I think that's what I'd be looking for the roll there. And just with the preface that we are basically running a hourly move. So doesn't always go very well. Let's see though. Boom. Oh my God. Wait, hold on a sec. What the heck was that? Okay. So this must have been a day that Trump tweeted something or something. But okay, so the setup did work, right? So stop was over there. And at first it was over high of the day, which you would have stopped out there. But if you don't take profit here, I can't help you, you know? So setup did work, but it was spooky. I don't know if that really is even that much of a point in favor of the system so much as this looks like a news stick. But we did see the rolling happening here, and then we were able to define risk at the correct place. We entered on a back, you know, wick back up into here. Maybe we got stopped out once, and then we saw this wick and we took this, and then boom, straight shot. And at 600, I would have been out. Maybe there. That thing went crazy low. And so at that point, if you're really fast and you get filled on a limit order, you can say, hey, I will look for the 5 minute. It was way too late, but maybe the 1 minute after you know you're bottomed out. Because when you get a wick like this, you're like, okay, that was a clear demand zone. Very often that was capitulation, and now we go back up. So where would the crossover be to get long here? 1 minute crossover right here is looking pretty okay. Pretty okay. A little scary, but pretty okay. You could long that with a stop under that candle, really tight. If you're wrong, it goes back down pretty hard. If you're right, it holds and pushes higher. So this is just an example of how you usually get one higher probability trade, or like one more intense trade there, and then you get the mean reversion. And sometimes you'll get a V shape. So big move here, big move here. But either way, this can put you looking in the right spots to get long or short here. So for example, say you didn't take profit, you just held, you thought you were going way down for some reason, and then you get smashed back up here. You can say, well, hey, I'm not going to go red on this. Where do I get out? Well, I'll get out if this confirms on a crossover here. So this crossover hits, and then maybe I wait for the 5 minute crossover too. If I'm like really like, no, then you'd get smoked. Yeah. So usually for these mean reversions, you just gotta respect the 1 minute, like once it's had a big bottom out like this. Okay. Adrian, was this the bean day? What day is this? No, this is June 10th. Yeah, we survived the bean market. Okay. All right, how we doing, guys? We've been going an hour and 20. I think somebody wanted Tesla as an example. Let's do Tesla. And if anybody has questions or charts they want to go over, feel free to start throwing those in now, and then I will get to them. But yeah, we've been going a while. So Tesla. Let's pick a random day for Tesla. Or did you want us to go over it now? We can just go over it now. See what's going on with it now. We can do a high time. It's a good time to do a high time frame analysis. Look at Denny's for fun. Is Denny's publicly traded, Jay? That's new for me. Let's look at Denny's. Okay, why not? Denny's Corporation. There you go. Apparently, it's a NASDAQ stock. The tech company Denny's. As we know. Okay. So, bottomed out chart. Oh, I apologize for Discord, guys. Let me switch that over. Didn't realize anybody was watching in there. I'll get the charts there. There you go. All right. DENN. This is I didn't know this ticker existed. And is this okay? Yeah. There we go. Okay. All right, how I would frame this. First off, big range, and this is, wow, 0.2, this is trading for a quarter. This was a quarter stock. And it surged to 24. Whenever you have a big range like this, we use fibs, or I'm sorry, log scale and log fibs. So what do we see? First off, this was the initial range. Pushed up to golden pocket, held the 50%. Broke out above and rejected. Okay. On the oscillator, the monthly is trying to accelerate. This does look like it's trying to carve out a potential low. Why would this be a place for a low? Well, this is the area, and more specifically, I think we can, where is it? There it is. And yeah, we'll call it there just for ease of, for convenience there. So ICT guys, any of you in here? What's this? When we come down and reclaim and then eventually push much higher. This is an order block. This represents, this move down then up and pushing higher represents a cohort of buyers that you would expect to be respected and to buy more off of their range, off their level, if it comes back there and the stock is still in an uptrend. So basically, you're back testing meaningful support. You're back testing the breakout more particularly. So that's fine with me. That makes sense. Now we can zoom in a little bit and see where it would be actionable. This is the 200 day. If it's the 50 week, let me double check on that, but it should be 200 day. Yep. So name of the game is the 200 day, as you can see pretty clearly. Reject, reject. This is the first time we've popped above it and the back test held cleanly. See this one, the back test did hold, but then it gave it up. So if you wanted to long this, your stop is very clear. A probably daily, definitely weekly close under 463. This is your weekly support. If this doesn't hold, you don't want to be in it. You can also say the reason why this level matters is because it is the top of this stage 1 base right here. And then if we're correct, and this is stage 2 expansion out of it, the back test should hold. So the heck is, I don't even know why Denny's would be bullish, but hey, okay, why not? Maybe it is. So we're watching this curling. Like I said, this should hold, and our target would be this previous range here. Looks pretty good. This pivot at like 6 to 650. More specifically, let me get my volume profile. Big level there. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, usually when you've been doing this for a while, you can kind of you have a good idea of where the volume shelves, the high volume nodes are going to be just from seeing the chart where it consolidates like that. So yeah, zone there, that makes sense. So that should be where it tests, and that's the monthly trigger. So I would say probably does something like maybe a little higher low, breaks this flag, back test, push up here or something. And then probably needs to, at the very least, I would like it to come back here because you see this low volume node right there, plus the previous highs essentially, and it should hold the higher low, and then it can push up, sweep these 2 sets of stops, 3 sets of stops. That's a very nice level there. And it's aligned with this low volume node. So then you'd be selling at 775-ish. And then if it holds the monthly on the back test, then you can shoot for that high volume node, something like that. So that's how I would play this. And in regards to our oscillator here, notable that the weekly is potentially flashing a sell. So that's kind of why I was saying I think we pull back just a little just to double check here, because monthly is still very bullish. So when the monthly is an expansion like this, but the next time, when the high time frame is an expansion, but the next time frame down is potentially showing the opposite, we are not in fractal alignment. We would be looking for this weekly to come down and bottom out within the context of this rising monthly. And then assuming that starts to give a bottom out, then we could start looking on the daily or something. And so here again, the daily doesn't look like it's really ready to cook yet, unless this is a fake little oopsie and it goes higher. So that's why I kind of think this chart looks like it wants to push down, but this looks like really good support with all the levels we mentioned. So I would say, yeah, take a look there. If you find buyers, push higher. I don't really know why, not to be mean, I don't know why this is something you're looking at. I mean, it's just a very interesting thing, to be honest. I didn't know this existed. But hey, I like eating at Denny's. Maybe I'll become a Denny's investor. Interesting chart, to say the least. Let's look at Tesla real quick. Yeah, we could check out the King Intel and Lumen Palantir deal. Interesting. Okay. Starbucks, not a good forecast. Oh, what's up with the coffee? There's coffee stuff going on, right? Coffee beans are mad expensive, and there's some news that I heard, and I can't even remember it. What's happening with coffee talk? Talk coffee to me. Black Bear over Denny's? Yeah, Nick knows what's up. Black Bear Diner smacks. All right. So I think Starbucks is an interesting look. I'm going to delete all these old lines. I wish I could remember the potential tailwind here. What are we doing with coffee? Trump probably said something about, I don't know, something about coffee. I think this chart looks kind of good. I would take a spot on a higher low over this. Stop at 83.70, look for 85, something like that. Okay, what do we got? Google, Bill R. Welcome, Bill R. Let's look at Goog. Look at the Goog. This is my long-term mega cap holding, my biggest long-term mega cap holding. This is the one that I just don't look at. But hey, look at that. Happy new all-time highs to those who celebrate. Beans are more expensive. Yes, beans are going up. Zero tailwind Starbucks. Okay, I don't know what headline I was thinking. I thought it was something that pushed back against. I know coffee is insane. What is it, KC? Yeah, coffee futures, KC. Oh, Toppy. Coffee Toppy. What do you call a quadruple top? Not a top. but for now, you can look for a little pullback. Yeah, okay. Google is king. Ain't that the truth? Don't disrespect the Goog. So what do we see here on the weekly? Look at that. Okay, so here's a great example of a bullish divergence. Guys, I'm going to draw some circles for you, and you're going to tell me what you see. Circle 1. Circle 2. We're going to draw where they came from. What do you see? What do you see, my friends? Let me help you. That's what we call a big boy divergence. Blue skies. Yes, sir. Blue skies. Well, what I see is that the wave trend was overbought. Nobody's going to say Google wasn't overbought here. It needed to cool off. As it cooled off all the way back down to the midline, to the zero line, the oscillator reset to when we were down here. Price reset just to the daily trigger. Beautiful, catch and go. Just reset to the moving averages. So we just cleared so much room for activities up north. Goog 300 pretty soon. Yeah. So I love this. Talking about mega caps really quick. I think Amazon, beautiful opportunity here. Really nice chart. Really good look. Holding everything it should. And look at that clean double bottom off oversold. And we see that last time it was oversold. Sure, it was a little more oversold. Kind of wish this got a little lower, but it could just be a sign of strength, a higher low. But the last time it was this oversold, it was way the heck down here. Now it's oversold and it's way the heck up here. We're ready to go higher. So we can also look at, there's this whole fractal thing. I think it's going to do something similar. Didn't quite line up. But what we can see is this low here, major low. And this low here, it tagged the same place on the oscillator, but this was a higher low. Not majorly, but it was. So that's another, another divergence there that kind of indicated that we were going up. Cool stuff there. All right, JR with NVO. We can take a look at that. And I promised somebody Tesla too. So we'll do that right after, and I'll just keep working through these. NVIDIA is another stock. Yeah, never sell. Don't, definitely. If you're long NVIDIA, what do I sell? The outage was bullish. Oh yeah, so that's another thing. Stocks love to bottom on bad news. This was the AWS outage, big bottom wick into the 200-day. Sorry, watch my mouth. Freaking textbook there. Beautiful setup there. What else did that? Bull. How many people were freaking out on their bull account on this day when they could not close anything? Stock is up about 10% from there, 7% from there, and starting to do exactly what we want to see on the oscillator. Look at that. We got our signal today, boys. Congratulations. Oversold, lower low, but no divergence. Lower low, lower low. What's more important to me is oversold, crossover. Let's party. Let's party. So just because I'm in this, I'm going to look at it a little closer too. Low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high. We broke structure. We're testing the falling 200-hour moving average. Hourly a little overbought today, so we can go back to the hour. Yeah, okay, yeah, hourly a little overbought, so we can look for a little pullback tomorrow, Monday, and then hopefully catch somewhere around here. But 4-hour wise, look at that beautiful expansion, just to the midline. So that's kind of indicative of, yeah, it's an area where we could come back just a little, but I bet we make a higher low, just like we did here, just like we did here, just like we did here. So there's a nice divergence where we kept making higher lows here, but price kept dumping. The real muddy, bad price action here, which is often what you see at bottoms, where it's like, man, I don't know. Do I want to buy any of this? I don't know, man. But now we have the structure break here. So looking better. I like this. I like this a lot, actually, because when we go out our time frame, this has the makings of a thing that you just buy a lot of and you do not worry about it. You just don't worry about it. It's a company that's not going anywhere, I don't believe. I think that it's a lot more likely that they ramp up into a similar Robin Hood type situation than they go bankrupt or something, or they get delisted. I think those are silly. I think because it's a Chinese company, it carries not a premium, the opposite, a discount with it. People are pricing in or mispricing risk that I do not believe is appropriate. And that was essentially the same thesis as BABA when I was buying it at 70, 80, 90, 100, yada, yada, 110, 120. I was buying it all in that range. So looks like a double bottom. Too early to say, but the week is a nice weekly candle. Last week, this felt bad. I was long bull last week at close, and that felt bad. This feels good. It feels much better. I would have liked just a little bit higher there, but hey, no worries. So I think this is a very good long-term holding to just literally not worry about. Okay, so Tesla, and then we haven't done NVO either. Do that. Tesla. It had a bad day today, but I am long from 420.69. as announced in my server, because I am 5 years old. But this 5-year-old made some good money on that swing. And I think that this chart is going much, much higher. So I will pick my spot at the meme level, just as the prophecy foretold. And if we lose it, I'll take a very small stop out, $10 a share. And if I'm right, let me frame this trade to show you why I am risking it for the biscuit off a meme level. Close enough. Stop under under the low of earnings, which I think was 4. Heck, we'll put it under the rising 9-day or 9-week moving average. 4% stop, whatever. I literally don't care. I'll take 5 of these. Yeah, I like that. So that's how I'd frame it, or that's how I am framing it, I should say. I didn't actually look where my stop would be just because I had high confidence in that being a bottom. First target, new all-time high. It's already a 4-to-1 trade. I would not take everything here. I would hold runners for the very least the 1.27, which is where, so there's our normal, and there's our log fib. So that's kind of the range, 560 to 610. That's where if we were going to make a higher high but not do the major breakout, that's the zone where we would reject. So that is, I would call it 600, and I would sell more at 600, trim there, sell more at 600, and then hold probably half. For the big target is this 1.6 extension, 800. Tesla will be $1,000 stock someday. And the more you complain about it, the faster it'll happen. So what else we got, guys? What else we got? Tyler is in SOUN at 9.9. My guy, look at you. My guy buying in the, look at Tyler being a pro and buying in the low cheat of the cup and handle. A regular Mark Minervini, dude. This is perfect. Buying anywhere around here, so perfect. Very, very, very nice. So we have big base. We have the handle. I love this chart. I'm looking for my spot. I think I missed it because I wasn't watching past 2 days, and I think it came down to, yeah, I wanted it off 1707, off this previous high. But I'll chase it. It's not bad. Not even a chase. I love this company. I love this chart. And I've done very well with it on the past. So whenever you have a chart that you do well with, keep it going. Keep playing it. Keep looking at it. So this is choppy BS there. We are in expansion down, yet there are buyers already. So when this does start to curl, we're gonna have some explosive moves to go here. I do believe. 4 hours trying to catch, probably needs to come back and make a double bottom. 1 hour, it was the sell signal was this morning. So I would imagine Monday it's going to flush out again, and it should form a higher low. Oh, but man, so this is my core zone based off volume profile, like the meat of the volume shelf. And I highly recommend marking these out, especially in a different color than your usual zones, because man, the responses are so clean to these high volume nodes. See the shelf there? Ledge there. So it came up, clear resistance there. When it tried to break higher, or went to break higher, it had to surge into it and had to back test right at that neckline there. So it's a very valid zone. And it dipped back into it perfectly and reloaded. So I am bullish. I don't think this breaks. It could. If it does, I'm a buyer here. Big volume shelf. I'm a buyer starting at 1630, buy a bunch at 16. If it sweeps down here, I'm loading the boat at 15, 1530, somewhere like that. That's probably a little aggressive because this needs to come up to the 15 round number, to this volume shelf, volume balance. And then the confluence. So few days. Yeah, so as long as it doesn't puke it super hard, I think this rises up to around here, price comes down to around here, and I buy around here. Hopefully. Or just screams. That's another possibility, but I don't think so based on the oscillators. Yeah, let's see what we got. Jay's trading in and out of SOUN. That's good. That's what I've been doing too. It's such a great swinger, dude. Like, I mean, golly gee, you can buy it at 18 if it looks heavy. Let's see where we would be. Let's look at the hourly this week. I bet there was some real good swings. Yeah, look, buy it end of day there at 17. You get the sell signal out of the gated open. You sell for $2 in like 2 days. Crazy. Easy money. 13% in 2 days. Easy money. You love that. Or how about this? You could have shorted it when it double topped and said, hey, there's a gap down here. In like a week, you get a, 25% move? Yeah, this thing's so tradable. Now what are we doing? Tried to break out of the big cup and handle. It wasn't ready. That's fine. Come back, test this. Popped. Still sellers here. Wasn't ready. Needs to come down deeper. Needs to hold this low. Needs to renegotiate this zone. It does. It finds buyers. Off to the races. This is the most bullish thing right here, though. Because look, a major V shape into the major daily trigger. Perfect. Great. Comes back totally normal. Pops above. Back tests it. And then you get volume and open off of that. That looks really bullish. We are coming back and back testing the breakout here. So either we hold here or we dig into here. Or I'm just wrong and we have to go down here more. But either way, the plan remains the same long term. This will be, at the very least, a $30 stock, $40 stock. I think it will be a $100 stock. And call it 5 years. As soon as a year, though. Could just go crazy. This all sounds ridiculous until you realize that it loves moving 400% at a time. Did it twice there, 3 times there. So 400, 400, 400, 400 puts you at $87 or so. Big bull there. Big bull there. Big bull. Okay. Oh man, you guys, there's so many comments. All right, we're gonna truck through here. Eco Seahorse, you can find this oscillator on TradingView. Let me give you the exact name. It's not my indicator. Most of the other indicators I use are homebrew. This one is not. WaveTrend, one word. Whoops. And then it's going to be the one with crypt in the name. It's by FS Crypt. WaveTrend Oscillator Crypt. Lazy Bear also does all his stuff is usually really good. He has one as well. I think just called WaveTrend, or maybe he has a space. Yeah, you can check out Lazy Bears as well, but I like crypts. And then the only tweaks I've changed are just very minor visual things. I took out the overbought and the oversold, so it doesn't show like this filled in green or this filled in red. And I changed the blue line, the short term, to green because that just makes sense to my brain. And then this should be dotted. Whatever. Anyways, great chart there. DOLE. I'm just going to go on down through here and let me see if I missed any before that. Tesla. I'll do Tesla and NVO, then DOLE. Okay. We did Tesla. Okay. I'm going crazy, guys. Told you talk. I'm crazy. NVO looks bad. I don't like it. I don't know. It is trading back into the point of control here, but I don't like this look where it knifes it, reclaims, then might puke it again. What we need is for it to find buyers off of that, which is valid. This could be a higher low into this volume shelf. Don't get interested until it reclaims this 55.50. Bare minimum. Really, there's no rush to bottom tick this thing. So I don't like it. It's scary. That looks scary. Let's find a fib that's relevant. Yeah, see, log fibs, they just work better on any chart with a decent size move. Yeah, 15 to 150, slap a log on there. See that? Let me show you the difference. So the equilibrium here, this is obviously very important, right? So first off, we come back to where it flagged, and it's a clear pivot. First bounces there, rejects, slams below, back tests, rejects again. Third time, rejects again there. Very clear pivot. Sure, it's the 60 level, so it's another psychological kind of confluence there. One thing that is not super relevant, but I think is very, very cool. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I swear, but when you have a move, so I'm taking the bottom of this wick where it pushed down before it surged up. When you have the start of a big move, and then halfway up, what turns out to be halfway up, after the move progresses, you see consolidation and a break. I believe that this being the high was programmed once sellers stepped in here and then got overpowered, because basically it's saying, if you're going to sell, it'll be here. If not, then we get the double measured move of this. And that's where the sellers will be. Because otherwise, how do you explain this to the tick being where the initial surge went up to, and then it consolidated and pushed through, and then on the way back down, it's clearly a responsive level too? How is this so responsive? Nobody knew that this was the 50% of the range when we were trading, when the chart looked like this. So just throwing it out there. I thought that's really cool to how often you see that. But I will finish the demonstration as well. Look, when we change it off log, these fibs don't really mean anything. Like that is, like there were algos firing off of this, but not nearly as many as off of this. So came back, tagged the 62. If it holds, this is fine. It will need to hold a high there. You need to put a stop under here, because if you're wrong, you will get taken to the cleaners down here to the 78 at least at 36 in the monthly 200. I do not like the chart. Okay, we did NVO. I think DOLE was next. DOLE was next. Stinky, uh-oh. Don't like that. Don't like that. Don't like the cloud of moving averages rolling. I don't like the fact that you have an uptrend line like that got broke. That was a potential pennant until it wasn't. We can get fibby with it. So the initial range, it could not test the initial range, showing that it was not ready for expansion. This is not a base, or this is not a base ready to push out of yet. This is still a developing base, which means if we tapped higher than this, then it opens the gates for, where's my scribblers there? If we did that, then it opens the gates for a higher low, holding there, and then expansion out of that range. Since it could not break the range, we got to trade back in. To the very least, we have to test the middle of it to see what's good. If there are still buyers here, then we can look for a spot. I'm inclined to think that it needs to be at a discount again. The golden pocket, that's our discount zone. It would be retesting this consolidation base and the previous low there, and it would give us a space for a higher low. So if you want to be a DOLE investor, I would look there. And this is all from the monthly. We can look and see if it maybe looks a little better. That looks very bad. Gross. Tries to base for 2 weeks, pukes it, tries to come back up, just test the pivot, pukes it again. Just closing the week right at the lows there of the range. That's ugly. That wants the 200 week minimum. So I might short this next week. Were we DOLE bulls? Is that what we were doing here? Because I'm not seeing it. If you want to play this bullish, you need to find a bullish break of structure. That will be setting an alarm right there at 1336. What I would expect If it were to be bullish, which I do not think, this could be the low. Maybe this is a higher low and it's just a fake close, scary close. I would expect a bullish move to look like tag this, back test the 20, maybe sandwich between the 20 and the daily before popping the daily, back testing the daily there, then pushing higher. So it won't be a one-shot move either way. It's going to need to process and digest and carve out a bottom. So going on, I'm going to speed up just a little bit, guys. Jay, you're saying they're too cheap fundamentally? Maybe. I don't know. Could be. Pineapple juice for the clubs also at Disney parks, huh? Okay. Yeah, I'm not a fundamental trader, so I couldn't tell you there. CRM is very interesting, though. So the trigger system just keeps on working. We pop it, and now this is the area of interest where we need to reclaim. So if you're a CRM bull, which I don't blame you, you want to see this start turning. It hasn't yet, so it's nothing confirmed bullish yet, to be completely honest. I also think CRM is kind of a shitty company, to be completely honest with you. But that's just me. I don't think they use their sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I don't think that they should be spending as much as they do on Matthew McConaughey commercials. How about that? So this is decent on the weekly. We have the 1, 2, like the triple bottom, call it a quadruple bottom off of this support zone. I don't like it when things test that many times, but this does look pretty constructive. So I'd put a stop under there, under the 200 week. That sounds fine. But really, there's no trade until this closes something major over this 258 or the weekly, or sorry, the monthly trigger, the 261. So this is like a really important band of resistance. We'll draw it all the way back because I bet you it'll be relevant. Yeah, look at that. The impulse move up. And then roughly the top of this zone too. And roughly the bottom of this zone. So very responsive level. This is where the rubber hits the road for CRM. What bulls want to see is they want to see the pop like they did before, but they want to see that with a tick higher. And then the back test needs to hold this zone. So you are a buyer at like 259, 258, 260 on a back test. I like it to some degree. Just while we're looking at that, IGV looks very good. Okay, this is software. Software ETF looks very constructive. As we knew, cup and handle, back test deep, and push on out. Good stuff. Lily, sure thing, near. Thank you for your patience. I know this was 15 minutes ago. Man, that looks great. I haven't looked at this one in a couple days. A couple weeks, actually, like a week or two. So we had the power stick, came back, and smart money was accumulating off of, lo and behold, the trigger system, guys. Daily trigger right here. If you were a buyer off the trigger system, you're sitting pretty already, and you have potential for big move up. The important thing, just like we talked about the weekly and the monthly on that last chart, whatever the heck that was, I already forgot, CRM, we have the same band of support this time with the daily and the weekly. So these two stair steps, the light blue and the dark blue there. So those two lines, along with our Ripster EMA cloud there, along with our 9 EMA, along with our 20 EMA. So this is such high confidence of confluence here. This should hold. We should be long Lily with a stop under the monthly trigger. See the monthly, so responsive too. You buy on the reclaim, you buy on the back test for a long-term position. And this should not be violated again. We should not see this price for a long time, if ever. Now, we remember that Lily is a unicorn. It's a unicorn. It's going to go higher. They're an amazing company, amazing moats. And this is a big flag. So if you were an investor that didn't want to buy something that was overbought, you wait for the monthly trigger. if you are looking to buy Lilly and you missed it at $103, your first chance to buy it at fair value on a long-term time frame is at $700. Lots of new buyers are here, and they are not going to sell for 5% or 10%. They want 30 to 40 to 50%. So you don't buy a stock that's up 700% unless you think it can do another 100 or so. Crazy chart. What a chart. And then you have XLV. This thing has been trading sideways for 5 years, just pushing up off of that. Shout outs to Promo, who sniped the perfect buy on the gap fill. I told him this is where you buy, and then I forgot. And I did not, but he bought right there. And what a trade. No biggie. I'm up 9% on my healthcare buy 4 days ago. That's pretty cool. All right. Adrian wants Lumen. I believe I'm familiar with this chart, and yes, I agree with you. Yep, there's the cup and handle. I know this one. Yep, there it is. Beautiful chart. I can't buy it here. It's too extended. I'm sure it works. Can't buy it though. I could buy it if it gives me a look. See, overbought. That's totally fine that we're overbought. We can keep pushing way higher once we're overbought. But oh man, is Lumen the one I was in? Yeah, oh man, I was in this one. I caught this breakout, and then I sold here for a scalp. Oh, and there it goes. Whack. All right, that's a really nice one. Bet it goes higher. I whiffed. I just gave away my great entry for some reason. Here is another one in the same space. AOI. They do fiber optic cables for data centers. Long term. Nice VCP. Volatility contraction pattern. Basically, this is all just a big base, right? Very high confidence that in the next couple of years, it's somewhere between 45 and 100. So remember, with these log charts, because this thing was $1, trading up to 45. If this isn't a log chart, it looks like chaos. And you'd be like, what the heck? This is not going to get to $100. Looks a lot more reasonable when it's a log chart. Log charts make these kind of charts make sense. All right. Yeah, but like you're saying, the Palantir contract, if they've got that, which I guess, yeah, I believe you. Huge. Yeah, multi-year partnership with a company is Palantir. When you're that small, that'll juice you for sure. So Lilly's kind of useless. They have earnings, right? So TA is never useless. It becomes less relevant when more noise is introduced. Lots of noise and change of data is introduced with earnings. This chart's so tight. Yeah, earnings soon. But if you see a move like this into earnings, usually if they sell off on earnings, it's a higher low and you buy that, assuming the earnings aren't terrible. But cool. Near talking path. Yeah, somebody else mentioned path to me today. It did look very good. This looks very good. Strong candle today, I assume. Very strong candle today. This is on my focus list. I'm going to add it right now. This looks great. Yeah, path looks great. So we're testing the monthly trigger. You know, systems trader, guys. Level to level to level to level to level. We held the weekly. We go and search the monthly. We surge past the monthly. Now we're back testing. We hold this. We essentially have blue skies. I'm going to delete my drawings because this is old and crazy. So we are working our way out of a stage 1 base, this looks like. Or a really long stage 1 base would be up here, I guess, if you want to label it like that. What I would say is that this is kind of its own stage 1 base here. We have the PS, we have the selling climax, we have the test sweeping that out, we have the spring here, we have the creek. If these things that I'm saying make no sense, I have a video, a webinar on Wyckoff charting, Wyckoff accumulation, Wyckoff, I don't know. But I do know that's the creek. This broke, and now it is in the SOS, I do believe. So sign of strength, consolidating at the top of the previous range should lead us to take the next leg up to, I mean, shoot, call it a double. I mean, there's a pivot here with high volume. So what I would do is I would be trimming into this zone, 22-ish or so. And that's a lot of room. I like this chart a lot for a swing. In terms of the oscillators, nice weekly turn there with room up, just surging. The monthly is probably a little more conservative. See, the monthly looks good. The monthly looks like it's something we could still buy long term. Not really worry about what it does short term. Daily needs to cool down. It's an overbought still. I would like to see it come here and curl, or it could even curl right here if it wants to just power out. Good stuff there. Good chart. The J talking SMCI. I don't think I like that. I don't like this. Oh, this is split adjusted. I was really confused. All right. I see. Yeah, man, this was the cleanest setup I think I've ever posted. And I did not take it because I was one day late. And I was like, I can't chase it at here in a week or two, a month later. This literally never went down for one day and it quadrupled. That one stung. Okay. Let's see. Kurt Nichols. Is this a group on Discord Evolution or so I work for Trade the Pool. We are a prop firm company. So we do prop trading. We have our own Discord server for Trade the Pool. And that can be found on the Trade the Pool website. You can just search Trade the Pool Discord and it should pop right up. I also run my own server, my own community, not affiliated with Trade the Pool, but you're more than welcome to join there as well. And you can find that on my Twitter account. My Twitter is STEVEN. I'm sorry, wait. STEVETEILMANN, Steve Tileman. And it's right in the bio there. Ramen Boo, I haven't done Intel yet, but that's just muscle memory at this point. I've been looking at this chart for so long. So as you can see, probably a lot of you know me because of my Intel call, honestly. Seems like that's what most people know me for recently. Long from 24, pounding the table. It's going to 40. Still sold too much at 30 because I'm a wimp. Adrian in here, he's the real Chad. He was buying at 30 and 35 because he knew where it was going and he wasn't scared. So good for him. I have my core position here. Trimmed a little here, holding forever because you know why? Why would I ever sell? I'm down here. The company reached an inflection point and is going much higher. Absolutely love them because everybody hated them. I was a bull because everybody was a bear. I know I'm obnoxious, but charts bottom on bad news. Okay. Going on down here through the comments. It's 10 o'clock. I feel that, Nick. I'm right there with you. Well, I will be shortly. Do I have a promo code for buying program? No promo codes. We have a lot of different products on Trade the Pool. You can find a swing account or a prop account that fits your needs, whether you're a swing trader, a day trader, whether you want more exposure or want to limit that, whether you want it limited by time or unlimited in time. So you can find a product that works for you. I have a service, but you can find that on my Twitter and my Discord if you're interested, newsletter and stuff. I won't waste trade the pool's time on that. But no promo code there either because it's cheap. But I guarantee you'll make more than it costs. So IREN. Let's talk IREN. What's it doing? Filled the gap. And, power stick. Man, I mentioned that it just needs to backtest this shelf and fill in this gap, and it probably finds buyers off the daily trigger. Just level to level to level, boys. So I missed this one. I didn't catch this. I wish, because it's a great company. Amazing company. Where is it going? Who the heck knows? Higher? So let's talk fibs. This is a chart that is Palantiring. Everybody thinks that it can't keep going higher. 70 is the break point. 70 is the 1.27 log fib, which means if it's going to make a breakout of this range from its high, 28, to its low at $1, crazy, then it will test right here. And if it's not ready to break out, it'll reject here. We saw a bloody nose here, just a little bloody nose, and we saw reaccumulation off of the daily trigger. All signs are still go for at least another test, and very, very likely a break and a surge higher, and an eventual move to the 1.6. I know this sounds crazy to say IREN is going to be a $220 stock. I believe it though, because when it was an $8 or a $6 stock, there was a log channel that I will put on here now that told me that this was going to be a $60 stock. Did I play it? No. But the TA worked. Channel here. Clean channel there. Where was it? Maybe it was... I forget exactly, but I think it was something like that. Basically saying the target would be up here. Yeah, 60. I think that's where I got it. So, pretty nifty. Yeah, I love log charts for that. So, what else do we have going on here? Oh, 90 people still here. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Leo V, good to see you, man. Do you see Amazon and Apple passing 300 and Google 340 plus after earnings next week? Yes, by the end of the year. No, I'm kidding. Yes, I do think they all go there. 300 plus. When does it happen? I don't know. I think Amazon earnings should be good. I do not have high conviction on Apple earnings. Google might need to pull back a little bit. I'm so bullish on them. I just literally don't care. I'm in from way low and I don't care what they do. For levels, next up is the 2x measured move at 272.58. And I believe this is not a fib one. Yeah, because this one, I guess you could, yeah, we could fib it. 300. I like this better. Yeah, 300. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. So yeah, trim some more at 300. It'll come back a little bit. Buy it off the weekly trigger, which will probably be at like 260, 270. Harry S. Welcome, Harry S. ASST. Who just bought this? Somebody on Twitter just bought this. Now everybody's talking about it. I kind of don't hate it though. Was it the Open and the Beyond guy? Is it that guy? Eric, whoever? So, out of all the trash piles that you could buy, this is one that I kind of like. I'm going to be honest. What are they? A Bitcoin treasury, whatever company? Sure. Okay. Yeah. Why I don't hate it is because look at that volume shelf. Oh man. And we just tagged right into it. I'm going to narrow this down to just the big volume shelf. Look at that. Super, super clean. So we know there's big volume here. Puked it hard. Actually, a crazy puke. So if crypto names run, this should go back. I don't see why it wouldn't, at the very, very, very least, at least fill this gap, and that's 20%. Oh God, it's up 20% after hours. Of course it is. Yeah. I like it. I don't like that I like it, but I do like it. That's where I'm at with ASST. I'll give you a little more TA here too, just because it's not a bad chart. There you go. Boom. How you like them lines? When you can just draw one line like that and it tells you the whole story of a chart. Like, hold on a sec. Look at this, guys. This is like a really pretty chart. Delete all this because we don't need it. We don't need anything but this POC and this downtrend line to tell us just about everything we need to know here, right? Man, that's pretty. All right. Twist my arm, why don't you? It's going on the focus list. Fine. ASST. I'll trade this and trade the pool account because I'm not going to blow up my own account on this thing. But but I like it while I'm looking at my focus list. Guys, go buy some tankers. Not financial advice, but look at that chart. Tankers. VLCC rates, the rate at which it costs to store oil at sea, is twice what it was last year. These stocks are basically the same price as what they were. They're cheaper than they were. Yeah, like right here or something. Rates were half of what they are now, and they're cheaper than that. We have a big supply of oil. What do we do with it? Got to float it. It's finally becoming financially viable to store it on the water. Venezuela and primarily Russian, any kind of Russian sanctions that we've been, seeing headlines about. That is going to be what breaks these out of these long-term ranges. These stocks mostly have very shitty ownership. They love to do crazy dilutions and buybacks at weird times, and just like they are not very respectful of shareholders historically. People have big trust issues from the financial crisis because everybody was building ships, and then all of a sudden everybody had too many ships and nothing to ship. So that's how you go from 250 to 4. These are great companies. FRO, one of my favorites. If you're doing shares, ECO, absolute, just excellent company, excellent fundamentals. ECO is great. FRO for options, it has the best liquidity. INSW is also high quality. And if you want leverage, I believe TNK is the most leveraged. And look, this is why I like these stocks, guys. Every single one of them is basically a super clean cup and handle, just pushing out of a low cheat entry. So buy this. Don't look for a few years. They will be double or triple. Adrian's an NBIS. About the dip. Oh, man. Nice dip buy. Man, I just need to follow you. You're so good at being aggressive with these high flyers and buying them on the pullbacks where they should be bought. That's nice. I'm assuming you just bought off 100, probably. Nice buy. What else? Okay. What do we got? Oh, it's so cool seeing so many new names here. I love that. Welcome, Javi. Thank you, Joe. You're the best. Hey, yeah, have a great time in Epcot. Sorry, I hope this isn't messing up your jam. Go have fun. I got this. And I'm wrapping up here in a second anyway, pretty soon. Adrian, they're not so slow if you buy options. Do that. Haha. No, don't do that. That's not financial advice. I would never give you financial advice. That would be irresponsible. Rocket Lab. Amazing stock. I can't buy it. I said buy it. Here, I said buy it. Here, did I buy it here when it back tested this cup? No, I didn't because I'm a clown. But that's why I need to not watch so many things. Now it's an amazing chart, but it's overbought. Doesn't mean it can't keep going higher. I think it does keep going higher, but I can't start a position here. I would need to look for a spot. I did give an entry this week right off the daily trigger there at 59.60. but I wasn't monitoring it. But you see how this trigger system works, guys? See that? It gives you really, really, really good places to look for buys. They don't always work, but man, do they work often. For the longer term ones like the dailies, I like buying the reclaims so I don't get chopped out in this. I just buy right here, get a nice move, trim it that high, come back here, reclaims, buy that, trim this high. Real nice mover here. Systemic. Love it. So, oh, Javi, I love the Calvin and Hobbes as well. I'm a big Calvin and Hobbes enjoyer. Grew up on them. You need the mustache. Well, I can't share that like I can TA, but you can come to my Discord and see more of it. Okay. Okay, we reached the end of chat, guys. We did it. There are no more new questions at this point. We've been going almost 2.5 hours. Well, we'll do buzzer beaters. I need some water. I'm gonna get water. Drop any final questions or charts or anything you'd like me to talk about, and we can do a little lightning round type beat when I get back. All right, guys. All right. FLNC. That's a nice dip buy right back into the pivot and held the 20-day and our daily trigger. So when the names are strong, sometimes they don't quite tag. See that? Real nice though. Man, that's nice. All right. Heck of a name there. Okay. FLNC daily fib. What fib are you talking? You fibbing? Where's the fib? That's pretty good. That's a good fib. We fibbing. Cool. All right. I think that's a good place, guys. That's as good a place as any. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I am Steve Tileman. I'm with Trade the Pool. We were talking WaveTrend oscillators and what to do with them. So if you liked this, feel free to go out and check out my playlist on Trade the Pool's YouTube channel. Just go to the playlist tab and you'll see all of my webinars there. You can find one on just about anything at this point. Been doing one a week for half a year. So if you like that content, go on, check it out. If you want to prop trade with some really good traders, come on into Trade the Pool's Discord channel. We do a lot of that. Check it out. If you want more of me, you can find me at my Discord server. You can find that on my Twitter in the bio. My Twitter is at Steve Tileman, SteveTeilmann. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all staying here. It means so much that every stream, it starts with 30 and it ends with 90 pretty consistently. So that means a lot that you guys are hanging out. Awesome. The J420. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate all of you guys. Catch me in my Discord. Catch me on Twitter. I will start posting again. It's been a hectic month, but you'll always find me here every week. You'll always find me on Trader TV every week. You just can't get rid of me. So thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend. And we will hit it sharp, hit it fresh Monday morning. Take care now, guys. Have a good one.